Kenny, can you say a prayer for us, please?
Lord of love and Father of forgiveness, we come to you this morning thanking you for allowing each and every one of us to be part of your beautiful creation and day. Help us to add to that by the way we live and treat others, even if it would mean a stranger. Lord, in a world where there's so much greed, hatred, injustice, and political correctness, help us to realize that we still are our brother and sister's keeper in all we say and all that we do. Lord, as leaders and those in authority, help us to exercise that authority in a way that is helpful, meaningful, pleasing, and worthwhile to the people we represent. Because, Lord, we know one day we'll have to answer for how we treated those that we serve. And Lord, I just pray that we not come out on the short end. So often we lament about our hardships, the conditions we live in, Lord, the lack of good education and good health care because of broken treaties by our government. Lord, despite all of this, there's no place we would rather live than our own home, beautiful land that you assigned to us. Help us to be good stewards of all that you give us. Be with us now today as we conduct the business of this tribe. Lord, may we do it with wisdom, compassion, and understanding for those we serve. Lord, most of all, thank you for not rewarding us according to our iniquities, but rather because you created us as your children. Lord, this I pray in your name. Amen.
Oh. Thank you, Kenny. Okay, we have the agenda. Are there any additions? Jim?
Just like to move mine up to the first item. PC.
First item on the tribal council items, or where would you like it?
Right after, probably right after a reading of the minutes.
Okay.
This item, Jim?
Yeah. Not very long.
Okay.
That's Jim's request for him to be on the agenda right after reading of the minutes. Okay, there's another addition. Maxine Rice would like to be heard on her request. And that will be number 4 on tribal council items. Are there any other additions or changes? Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
Been motion second to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? Any objections? No objections, motion passed 6-0-0. Next item on the agenda is we need to nominate and elect a vice chair to fill the vacant seat. Chair will entertain a motion for nominations.
make a motion that we accept nominations for the vice chair.
Motion to accept nominations for vice chair. Second.
Second.
Any objections to the motion? No objections, motion passed 6-0. Chair will entertain nominations.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Ken Mallory for the vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Kenneth Mallory, the vice chair.
Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chair, I move that nomination cease.
A second.
And second. No other nominations? Ken, you are now the vice chair.
Thank you, Council. Thank you.
Okay, next item, reading of the minutes. 1/6/3/19, regular meeting minutes.
We've had 2 weeks to read them. I'll make a motion that we approve.
Good, good.
Second.
Been motion, second to approve the minutes of 6/3/19, regular meeting. Discussion? Any objections?
Object.
Call for vote. Favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 yes. No?
Abstain all the way.
Abstention, 1. Reading of the minutes, 6/28/19, treasurer's report.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve those minutes.
A second.
Been motion, second to approve the minutes of 6/28/19, treasurer's report. Discussion? Any objections?
Object.
Call for vote. Favor? Jim, how you vote? Abstain. Okay.
Same.
4 yes, no? 0. Abstention?
Abstain.
2. Motion passed. Reading of the minutes, 7/1/19, regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Been motion, second to approve of the minutes of 7/1/19, regular meeting. Discussion? Any objections?
Object.
Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 yes? No? Abstention?
Abstain.
Yes? Or no? Abstention?
Vote in favor.
Okay. 5-0-1, motion passed. Reading of the minutes, 7/8/19, monthly land meeting.
Move it, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been motion, second to approve the minutes of 7/8/19, monthly land meeting. Discussion? Any objections?
Yes.
Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 yes, no, 0, abstention?
Abstain.
Motion passed, 501. Reading of the minutes, 7/31/19 CEO report.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been motion, second, to approve the minutes of 7/31/19 CEO report. Discussion? Any objections?
Object.
Call for vote in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 yes. No? Abstention? 2. Motion passed, 402. Reading of the minutes, 7/31/19 general council meeting.
Move it, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been motion second to approve the minutes of 7/31/19 general council. Discussion? Any objections? Call for vote, in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. No? Abstention? 2. Motion passed, 402. That concludes the reading of the minutes. Next item is Jim Snow request.
Before I give you an update on health issues, I just wanted to say, take this opportunity to say thank you to all the relatives and the friends and for directions, for all the thoughts and prayers, that were offered up on my behalf. And it's really gratifying and like that take that time to offer up a little encouragement and prayers and all of these things on each other, that passing along those teachings that our ancestors that instilled us, take care of one another, be good to one another, and those things. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you throughout Indian country, live stream, and word of mouth, these things like that. I really appreciate that. It's really made me feel good. It's really uplifting to my spirit. So then I just wanted to say that much. And then also, after many months of testing, and then had a lot of biopsies in different parts of my body, and they all came back negative. And I even got a clearing on one, but there's still a lot of pain. And after retesting, I was diagnosed with cancer, so they're setting up a treatment in Junine Island Cancer Center in Sioux City. So called Clan Unity Hospital. We expect really, and then so they're setting up an appointment with Junine Island, and so we'll go from there. I just wanted to let the council know and the ownership know that we'll do what we can do. Follow this treatment plan and whatever we can do. So with that, I just wanted to say about that much. I hope God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, good, thank you, Jim. God bless you.
Thank you, Jim. God bless you.
Okay, next is ratify 5 signature.
And then my second item is, I was scheduled to go on that consultation over in region, I think 6, 7, maybe 8. There's a couple of regions that are holding a consultation in Denver around the 22nd. And the domestic violence programs, and they had their money in their budget to sponsor a tribal council member. Could you please, look into that? It's really important for tribal leaders to be there at those consultations, and especially the Great Plains, where Winnebago is one of the leaders in TANF and Health and Human Services, all of the things that are being done here. Winnebago was the first one to have their TANF, Health and Human Services. Did a lot of things with expanding the whole program. So and also they're found some funding to renovate the Yellow Walker building to keep it in service for the tribal members, so to serve the people. So if we could bring that up for later discussion, if somebody would like to participate in that, kind of encourage that along.
That's the one in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We had a discussion on that. I don't remember what the results were. Okay, all right. Okay, ratify 5 signature. 1, approve REDW as auditor FYN 2019-2021 for WTN WCHS Winnebago's commercial 401k plan.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Been motion second to ratify the auditor for FYN 2019-2021. Discussion? Any objections?
Object.
Call for vote in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No? Abstention? 1. Motion passed 501. Ratify 5 signature. Approve fundraising match for Charlie Earth, Nebraska attack team.
Motion to ratify.
Been a motion second to ratify fundraising match for Charlie Earth, Nebraska attack team. Discussion? Any objections to the motion?
Object.
Call for vote. In favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Five yes, no? Abstention? One not voting. Make it sure.
ratify.
Agenda, go get your agenda. Ratify 5 signature, planning department adopt resolution 19-161, Winnebago Tribe senior citizen participation in nationwide elder needs assessment.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion second to ratify 5 signature planning department resolution 19-161. Discussion? Any objections? Call for vote. In favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. No. 0. Abstention? 1. Motion passed 501. Ratify 5 signature planning department adopt resolution 19-162 FY 2019 DOJ Winnebago Law Enforcement Based Victim Specialist Program. Been motion second to ratify Planning Department Resolution 19-162 FY 2019 DOJ Winnebago Law Enforcement Based Victim Specialist Program. Discussion. Any objections? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 yes, no, abstention, 1. Motion passed, 601. Ratify 5 signature approved travel VK 16th Annual Indian Health Service Direct Service Tribes National Meeting.
Move it.
Second.
Motion second to ratify 5 signature travel VK Annual Indian Health Service Direct Service Tribes National Meeting. Discussion?
Other, I think the sponsors are paying for our travel. Do that in a minute.
Any further discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 0, abstention, 1. Motion passed, 601. Ratify 5 signature approved travel VK AAIP Association American Indian Physicians Indians into Medicine Summit August 7th, Chicago.
Move it.
Second.
Been a motion, a second to ratify travel VK AAIP Association American Indian Physicians Indians into Medicine Summit August 7th, 2019. Discussion.
Discussion. I'm all for sending Victoria Kitchion on all of these because of the support from the tables speaks on how we feel about that, her position over there in regards to what we're doing with this hospital. At the same time, I would like somebody on this table to kind of be plugged into that system and be involved in that process so that it's not just one person with all that knowledge base. Just in case. So we have a plan B. That's all I got.
You know, it's, like Roland was saying, it's really important that tribal council members, tribal leaders attend these conferences, you know, the ability to network with the other tribes, the other regions of the country, what they're doing with their Indian Health Service. You know, everybody knows that they're under fire quite a bit, and justifiably so. But we have a tribal member, Katia, belongs to that organization, comes from the Henry Rowe Cloud family. She's a member of that group, and one of the things that they're trying to do is expand our tribal members throughout the country, expand that, encourage them to get into the health field, you know, nursing and radiology, anesthesiology, being doctors and stuff like that. Over the past 20 years, I think all of the ethnic groups in the country have improved their enrollment in medical programs, except the Native Americans. So we need to improve that a little bit.
Been a motion second. Any other discussion? Any objections to the motion?
Object.
Call for vote. In favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No? Abstention? 1.
Yes.
Motion passed, 601. 7, ratify 5 signature approved travel VK NIHB National Tribal Health Conference, September 16th, 2019, Temecula, California.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion second to ratify 5-signature travel VK NIHB National Tribal Health Conference, September 16th, 2019. Discussion?
I have a question. Who seconded that? Who
Jim.
seconded it?
Jim.
Oh, another question. Where does NIHB get their funding from?
From us, the tribes.
For all the tribes?
Yeah, that's, that was what I was gonna mention, is that, the National Indian Health Board is soliciting, sponsorships from the tribes, and there's a scale that they have. I think the top scale is 10 grand, the next one is 5,000, and it goes down. That's so that they can have the conferences and provide the travel for all the participants. So that's with us now. It's at my desk this morning. Any further discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 yes, no? Abstention? Motion passed 6-0-1. Ratify 5 signatures, land management, adopt resolution 19-163, authorizing request for and approving withdrawal of Ilka land purchase funds held in trust by OSD to purchase on reservation trust or restricted interest. Sherman Fundmaker.
Move it, Mr. Chair.
Second.
And motion second to ratify resolution 19-163. Discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. No?
Mis-
Abstention? 1.
Mr. Chairman, while we're on this subject here and dealing with it, I kind of want to throw in the fact that we've had a lot of discussion over at the casino about just this little piece of land where there's solar panels, and we're discussing who that belongs to, who's gonna run it, and all that kind of stuff. Is it ours? Isn't ours? A while back, IRETA told us how much they were drawing down to purchase land. Why don't we, instead of haggling over who owns that or how it's gonna be used, and are we gonna have a big expense of moving all that stuff 20 feet? Why don't we just, with the money that she's drawn down, outright buy that little portion of land? I was thinking about that the other day, that we're discussing that a whole heck of a lot, and it's just simple, probably $4,000 or $5,000 at the most for just that little section. It's gonna cost more than that to move all of those panels. I just wanted to I didn't know where to throw it out in the meeting, but maybe it could be a topic of discussion down the road.
Mr. Chair, I agree with what Kenny was just bringing up. I think that's a good idea, and it's a good move. I just want to add my support to that comment.
Okay.
In hindsight, Mr. Chairman, in hindsight, if they had just followed that fence line that's up there, you can clearly see that those panels, they could have put them on our side just by going by that fence line. For some reason, they moved them over onto the farmers' acreage. So all they had to do is just follow that fence line. It clearly shows just straight down the line. We're over on the tribe side. We wouldn't be here.
Okay, well, the panels are moved. The pillars are moved too, the concrete pillars. They're moved over onto our property.
Oh, it's already been done.
Yeah, it's already been done. And land management is researching, and there's a very good possibility that the farmer, I believe his name is Patterson, he's farming some of our land without a lease. It's near the road. So they're doing some research, and then they're gonna deal with that. We have to remember that the ILCO funds, they're used for airship property,
Right.
interest property.
Okay.
Okay, we do have money on the land management side that we can use to purchase also. Fee property. Okay, that motion passed 601. Ratify fire signature 9, land management, adopt resolution 19-16A, authorizing request for and approving withdrawal of the Ilko land purchase funds held in trust by OSD to purchase on reservation trust and restricted interest. Lethia Bass.
Move it.
Second. Then motion second, ratify resolution 19-16A. Discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 0, abstention, 1. Okay. 10, Human Services. Adopt resolution 19-164, USDOI BIA WTN Social Service Program PL 102-477 Plan Amendment.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Been motion and second to ratify resolution 19-164. Discussion? Any objections? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 0. Abstention, 1. Motion passed 601. Ratify Winnebago's marketing, approve August VIP appreciation dinners.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Been motion and second to ratify Winnebago's marketing August VIP appreciation dinner. Discussion? Any objections? Call for vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, no, 0. Abstention, 1. Ratify Planning Department adopt resolution 19-165 FY 2020 Winnebago Tribe EAP Clean Air Act 103.
Second, second. Move it.
Second.
A motion and second to ratify resolution 19-165 FY 2020 Winnebago Tribe EAP Clean Air Act 103. Discussion?
Discussion. The resolution isn't signed yet. In fact, I don't know We haven't signed them. Just not that.
Okay.
So I noticed.
What number is it gonna be?
It's the ratification, it just isn't signed. I just known that it's not signed in the package, we gotta get it signed yet.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. No, 0. Abstention, 1. Motion passed, 701. Ratify Winnebago's maintenance approved proposal of Milken and Company, cost of $267,269.59 to redo carpet throughout casino.
Move it.
Second.
Did you second, Mel?
Yeah.
The motion second to ratify Winnebago's maintenance proposal of Milken and Company, cost of $2,067,269.59 to redo carpet throughout casino. Discussion.
What are they gonna do with the old carpet?
They're gonna put that in all the sweat lodges in the surrounding area.
I wanna get a remnant to put downstairs, and Quanah can work out down there rather than out at the casino.
Magic carpet.
Yeah, I have a carpet down there. I got a machine, I just need a carpet.
Second.
Oh, gee, well, all right.
No.
You say that in your lodge. Did we approve this though, the other
Yeah.
day? No?
You ratified
No,
it, right? You did a signature on it. Any further discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 0. Abstention, 1. Motion passed, 701. That's a good question, Kenny. Gotta find out about it.
There's some good areas.
Yeah, there's still contained carpet in there. 14, CFO adopt resolution 19-166, approving agreement and limited waiver of sovereignty immunity with North Central Rental and Leasing LLC.
What is that about,
Ratify.
Mr. Chair?
Rental and leasing. Equipment rental agreement.
Roads and rented equipment for the new project out
Okay,
there.
I see it here.
Move it.
I was second.
Been motion second to ratify resolution 19-166. Discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for a vote. Favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 0. Abstention, 1. New business, Pam Adams.
Well, first of all, thank you for agreeing to have us on the agenda today. I'm Pam Adams. I'm the marketing manager for American Broadband. I have with me Don Archer, who is our outside plant manager. As required by the FCC, we are to give all of our tribal communities an annual update of services provided, things that we're doing as far as in support of our network, as well as things that we're doing to support the local community. So I'd like Dawn at least to start to talk just a little bit about the project we've been working on within Winnebago, other things that we've got on our plate going forward through the remainder of the year.
Well, last year we put fiber south of town, and we're able to provide some faster internet speeds for some of the businesses. The police station, we just cut over to a higher speed. Still not close? Okay. Give me stage fright. So we've just cut over them. We're in the middle right now of beefing up the north area out here where the new homes are going to be built. The state's coming in, I think, and putting a roundabout in, so we're working with that. Our existing cabinet sitting there is in lane 1, so we have to move all that out, and it's giving us a chance at the same time to put in new equipment and upgrade everything to be able to provide all those homes with faster speeds. So it's kind of where we're at with the construction side of it.
Okay. Then on the community side, I did want to give one of the updates on the Lifeline program. That's a program I know that we have come up to the community and send some mobile offices for as far as line for signups on that. This is a program through the federal government that allows for offsets of communication services. It used to be specifically just for phone. They did now go ahead and move it over so it does include broadband or data service. As of, I believe it was last Thursday, I had Jane Sutherland, our regulatory manager, run the numbers. And in the city of Winnebago, we have 24 customers that are using the voice provision through Lifeline, and then 53 for data. For voice, this does allow for an offset of $26.45 for a phone line. And then on the data side, it's for an offset of $34.25. And then what they are planning to do, they are going to be having some changes with the Lifeline program going forward that actually will allow people that qualify to actually go online and get an immediate notification as far as approval. So we're hoping as we continue to bring mobile offices up to the community, that will speed up the process significantly. Lastly, we just did, with the powwow that just happened here recently, we did again provide internet service to the powwow grounds to help with live streaming of that event. And then one of the other things that we've also done in the last year is we came up in support of the high school and sponsored a half-court shot contest and provided free popcorn for all that attended. One of the nice things about that event is we hit a number of high schools over the basketball season last winter, and we're able to donate back across all the high schools that we did hit $1,869 back to the local schools. So we're very proud of that. At this time, we'd just like to open, I guess the other thing too, I know that Shane Morris wasn't able to attend, but one of the things that we've done over the past couple of years is making sure that we're upgrading our network in support of higher speeds, especially in town, and also moving out to the rural. And of all of our communities, you know, specifically in the area, in town, customers should be able to get at minimum 50, if not 100 meg, as far as speeds are concerned now. So we've made some significant improvements to our network as far as speeds are concerned. I know working with Dawn, we're continuing to identify businesses to go ahead and swap out from copper to fiber, to go ahead and get them on a complete fiber infrastructure. So, I'd just like to open it up to any questions or feedback. Yes.
You know, as far as the tribal and, you know, as far as our appropriations and things like that, we're always looking for ways to get the most for our dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then with American Broadband, you know, and then one of the tribal organizations, the tribal programs, you know, there's a lot of it, you know, where it's just this program, this program, this program. You know, if we could bundle it all together, you know, maybe get a group rate or something like that, because we spend a lot of money for these services.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm doing after we get done here is I'm going to be sitting down with Brandon Stout and Erica Dunn to just really do a overall account review of all the accounts the tribe has with us. And my hope is by doing this, if there are services that need to be eliminated that are no longer being used, we can certainly do this, as well as look at speeds and pricing to make sure that you guys are basically getting the best quality service for a very affordable rate.
Indeed, because with the college, the tribal organization, Ho Chunk Village, always increasing, the services over there. And that's why we're looking to maybe, they do have meetings with our tech people,
Okay.
and also with the college, with the school, and just coming up with ideas and what the latest update that's coming down, because something that's new today will be obsolete in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but, that's on
Okay.
the agenda, and get back from report from our IT people and all those involved in it. We rely on them heavily.
Okay. Great.
Any other comments or questions? Well, Pam, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay, old business, request M. Benson, Emerson Police Department. Did you tell him he's out of his jurisdiction?
I haven't taken any enforcement action today, so.
Morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much, everybody, for hearing me today. Reason I've come here is, as I'm sure all of you know, 2 months ago on June 7th, I left the Winnebago PD and took a position with the Emerson Police Department just on the other side of our reservation. And the reason I'm here today is I have discussed with the Chief of Police, Chuck Chin, of the Emerson Police Department, as well as the village board for Emerson, to purchase from the tribe the narcotics canine, all of you know him as Duke, that I handled while I was here with the police department. The reason that we would like to purchase him is currently with the jurisdictional laws, with Duke being owned by the tribe, I'm not able to utilize him as his handler. So for the last 2 months, Duke has basically just been sitting stagnant out at my house, just being a house dog. I have worked with him a couple of times just to make sure that his skill set is still there. And we do currently have a mutual aid agreement in the process. It's with the village's attorney right now, just to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. I did submit a couple of letters from the Chief of Police and our village chairman, Kelly Stahlbaum, agreeing to pay the price that I had discussed with the Chief of Police, Jason Lawrence. And that price was about, I believe it was $5,000 to purchase the canine. That price was come to because of Duke's age. He's currently about halfway through his career. When the tribe purchased him, I believe it was 4 years ago now. Or no, it'd be 3 years ago now, excuse me. We purchased him for approximately $10,000 from Von Lick Kennels in Indiana. And after calling Von Lick Kennels, they said that a fair price would be $5,000. And like I said, I discussed that with our village board in Emerson, and they agreed to purchase the canine for that price, so that way we can get him back out on the street. With the mutual aid agreement, once it is approved, I do still live out on my farm here in Winnebago, and Duke will be available for the Winnebago Police Department and the Winnebago Tribe to use. I will still bring him into the school when requested. I can still bring him in for search warrants to search houses, and I can also come in for assistance if officers call me in. I am not by any means trying to take the dog away from the tribe. I'm trying to take a tool to get this poison off the streets and put it back into service. Granted, Duke won't be here patrolling like when I was here before, but I think the sooner we can get him back out on the street and start utilizing him again. Emerson still is on the reservation. It's only 13 miles down the road. If I'm on duty and the guys call me over here saying that they need help, you can bet I'm gonna be on D Avenue and I'm gonna be flying over here to help them. Thank you.
Got any comments on the Winnebago Police Department?
I know the chief, we kind of discussed this. We talked about reassigning the handler. Our only option that we came up with was me. Only because, I mean, I used to be a handler myself, but I'm not able to. With our two travel officers, they have a year and a half of being a police officer. And it's usually 3 to 5 years they want you to be a police officer before you even take a dog and start being a canine handler. So when we talked with the chief, we kind of suggested that that's probably the best idea or the best approach to, you know, let the Emerson purchase him. Otherwise, he's just going to be sitting in a kennel. Officer Walker, he showed some interest about being a sign handler, but Officer Walker's also can be details anywhere, being that he's purchased with tribal funds. He's gonna be taken off the reservation. So there's another block there.
George, you have something?
Yeah, I think, in the beginning, I really thought that we should get what we could with the dog, but just, you know, as sitting here and listening and the letters have come from Emerson, and I just started thinking other things that just seem to bother me, I guess, a little bit now, that I guess, one, that you would find compelled to leave our force and take another job. And then two, that you would, wanna take one of our resources and then circle back and make it sound like it's a benefit to us that you'll come over any time, but I just doesn't seem like the best scenario for us, and I feel like I'm getting took a little bit, but I know that it seems to be the best outcome for a used dog. But I guess I don't like being told that $5,000 is the price because you guys made phone calls. You know, I would like to see us do our own due diligence and not have Emerson tell us what they're gonna give us for taking our resource. So I guess that's kinda how I feel hearing it second time around. The first time I was like, yeah, we need to sell that dog, we need to get what we can get from it. And it would be kinda cruel to take the dog from its, dad. I don't know. I just don't know how I quite feel about it now, because I still feel like, you know, you left on your own accord. And now you're back. And you want the dog. But the dog isn't much use to us anymore. So it's just, I don't know where we go from here, but just the whole situation, I just kinda don't really like it anymore. But that's all I'm saying.
Mr. Chair. Well, let Jim speak first, and I wanna reiterate something here.
Jim, where you can say something?
Well, you know, it's, you know, I feel that, after discussing it with, Captain Lawrence, and like he said, it was offered to the different positions, and then there was no takers that could really, fully, devote the time and effort to take all that it has to do to be a handler, the training, to upgrade, and to also, the fact that he's been with, Officer Benson. You know, when the tribe, took over their law enforcement. You know, a lot of the tribes and the Dakotas and stuff like that, they say we can certify our own. You know, and they do that. They certify their own police officer. But if they wanted to leave the reservation and go work for another organization within the state, within the Indian country, they would still have to go back to law enforcement training, either in their state or Artesia. The reason the Winnebago tribe decided that we would send our police officers to Artesia to have that national certification, so they can get a job anywhere in the country, and always provide an opportunity for our tribal members to benefit themselves and their families. And one of those benefits is that after they work for us for a certain number of years, they have that option. If a BIA position opened up, they would provide the health insurance, a 401k, some of the things that is more beneficial for them, for their families like that, and that's why that was done. So, you know, I'm in support of going ahead and get that dog back on the streets.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to weigh in on, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Tori, thank you, Jim. I'm in agreement with what's been said as far as Councilman Snow has to say as far as this dog being put back in circulation. That's important. And I'm also in agreement with what Councilwoman Ketchion had to say in regards to how this came about. And I don't feel good about it, personally. I feel that we have went to great expense to pay for the training of this individual and that animal. And then after he got all that training, he wanted a raise after we already went through our appropriations. He said, give me a raise or I'm gonna quit, because he come complaining to me about it when I was taking care of a funeral out to the vets building. So he kinda has us over a barrel. So I say, do what you have to do. And here we are. He quits, he goes over there, he takes all that training that we paid for, and then he wants the dog on top of it that we paid for. And then he's gonna come back over and he says, well, I want that dog, and I'll be sure and make it available to you. That's a hard pill to swallow for me. You come into our community and we do all this stuff for you, and you benefit. And he's not a tribal member. So I have a problem with that. But here we are. We're weak in this law enforcement. We're really struggling over there. We got a lot of things going on in this community. And that BIA, the way that they have their rules and regs, it dictates what we can and can't do. We try to hire our own people, then they burn them out, they send them out. They put them on the crap detail. They get little paid, little rest, little time. So it's not working out for us, you guys. I hope you can plainly see that. Because here we are. Until we step up and make something happen and take control of that, we're going to keep on getting what we're getting. And it's not cost effective. It comes at great expense to this tribe. That's what I got to say, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm gonna say what I was gonna say before you started talking, and I guess I'm the only one that's kind of weighing in on support of the recommendation that's before us. First of all, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. What he learned with his master is always gonna be with him. And I know the law enforcement department has its ups and downs, and sometimes it chases people away and brings the wrong people on. And sometimes a law enforcement officer's only choice, if he's diplomatic, is to leave the scene without any hostility or ill feeling. That's happened on numerous occasions with several officers. We either burn them out, we don't treat them right, or we don't recognize their worth. It's just simple as that. I'm looking at the money part of it, and I'm looking at the personnel part of it too. I believe that if we can get $5,000 and walk away from the deal, knowing that that dog will be of some support to us, at least it is not a lost cause. I just feel like it's not a bad choice, and if I had my druthers, I'd go with taking the $5,000 and accepting the service that Emerson will provide if and when they can, should we need that dog. I don't think you can go wrong with that. My personal feelings about the gentleman is not the issue here today. You know, maybe we don't even know the reason he really left there. Maybe they're legitimate. We've had people be let go for less limited reasons. So I'm really saying, council, let's take the $5,000 and the offered services that are gonna be available and see where it goes. At least we haven't lost 10,000. If we lost 5,000, that's not the worst thing in the world. We're getting the other 5 back. I don't believe in looking a gift horse in the face. That's all I got to say.
Mr. Chairman, is there like a term of, what's the life expectancy, of a service dog, to be in the field?
You're looking at most service dogs in the field between 5 to 7 years. And as I can see here today, my reasons for leaving are in question, and so I will answer those questions for you. I left for personal and family reasons. At the time, Winnebago PD is very short-handed, and we were working, and still are working, a lot of hours over there. And it was taking time from my family. I can tell you, when I was on vacation in Kansas City, I was sitting at a Royals game with my kids and my family, and I got a call, and I was asked by another officer, "Hey, could you come in and work a shift tonight?" And I said, "I'm sorry, man, I'm on vacation. I can't come in." He's like, "Well, where are you?" I said, "I'm in Kansas City. I'm at a baseball game right now." And what kind of burned me was that officer said, "Well, how long does it take to get back?" And that kind of irked me a little bit, okay, and it gave me a sour taste in my mouth. I have no ill feelings towards this tribe. The Winnebago tribe, and with me not being a tribal member, has given me a lot of opportunities since I've moved back here. My mother came here to support me today. My mom's been up at the school for over 30 years. She is the reason I came to Winnebago. When I first came back from the Marine Corps, I started working here as a CHR and EMT. And I love the community, I love being in Winnebago. And when I started with the Winnebago Police Department, my intentions were to retire from here. I never wanted to leave Winnebago. But between the hours and what was going on, it was taking too much from my family. And within regards to money, I did not ask for money. There was a raise that was put into play that was not getting approved for whatever reasons. And I did bring that up, yes I did. But one of the reasons that I left was because with the current contract between the Winnebago tribe and the BIA over law enforcement services, tribal officers, we can't hold rank. All we can ever be is a road officer. And my professional goals, I went to college and got a degree in investigations for the sole purpose of becoming one day being an investigator or being a police administrator. And that opportunity was never going to be afforded to me here. So I took my professional goals and my family goals, and I went to Emerson. And I took a significant pay cut to go to Emerson. But I can tell you the 2 months I've been over there, it has benefited my family. And I still want to help the Winnebago community. I still live over here, and I still view this as my community. I hold no ill feelings towards anybody here. I want to help. I joined the military to help people. I became a paramedic to help people, and I became a police officer to help people. And I'm in this community because some higher power has brought me here. I'm sorry I can't be with the Winnebago Police Department anymore, but I never say never. I may come back one day. But what I'm asking today is, we have done our research, and I think, Tori, that the research should be done on the council side. If that's what you would like, I can call Von the Kennels and have them send you directly an email about the cost effectiveness of the dog. And I will do that for you, because Duke is a very good narcotics dog. For the 3 years that we had him on the road here in Winnebago, I have never gotten a false alert out of him. I have found countless narcotics, including methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, and marijuana. I know how good he is and how good he can be. I really do want to get him back out on the road and get him working. And part of that work will be here. I don't ever want you to feel like you wasted your money training me.
Thank you for sharing that with us. When I was asking what the, I guess, our working term of the dog was, my next question was there any type of parallel commitment on your behalf? You know, when you, and I understand, as you shared, why your path changed and your goals for your family always are a priority. So what was there, or it was just kind of like a thought that you would continue? I guess where I'm going with this is, this happens all the time to the tribe. It happens in healthcare, it happens in all our departments, and right now it's just another instance when we have our resource, whether it be human resource or now a canine, or the training that we pump into our employees. And I think there's a lot of training opportunities at the Winnebago tribe, and they just don't always stay here. And I think maybe that's why it's just kind of really rubbing me the wrong way as I've kind of come to this point. But I think that you are committed, and I didn't know you were an EMT, but I just still, it just sucks because this is not good for us. It's like, it's the best outcome in a bad situation. But, and I just would like, or I just want to finish this thought, and I know we've done it in some cases with our healthcare, and there's a commitment, and we just need to be smarter about that. You know, these dollars leave, they should have to pay that back, and I know in some instances, there is a payback with our contracts if you don't complete your term. And so I just would like to see us not always find ourselves in these circumstances and have to have these conversations. Thank you.
Good morning. It's good to see you. I have a couple questions, and they're going to go in a couple different directions. First, you work for the city of Emerson now?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe for the council I guess, the status and the nature of the police force in Emerson that you're a part of?
Right now, the police force, we are extremely small. There is only 2 of us. There's me and the Chief of Police, Chuck Chin. Our jurisdiction is within the village limits of Emerson, which roughly, I mean, without knowing square mileage or square footage or anything, about half the town falls on the Winnebago Reservation between Thurston and Dixon counties.
Okay. So with there only being basically the 2 of you for the entire town of Emerson, and I understand that, you know, it's basically the corporate limits of the town, of the city itself. is there currently any type of articulation agreement between the city of Emerson and the tribe and/or the BIA law enforcement?
Currently, we have a mutual aid agreement that is in the process. We were actually trying to get that done before powwow. So that way I would have been able to come over here and actually use Duke during powwow for checkpoints and things like that. Unfortunately, it was kind of done at the last minute, so we weren't able to get things approved for powwow. But there is a mutual aid agreement that we are pending approval. It's all just the village attorney just has to say everything is good to go, and our village chair and chief of police will sign off on it. The chair and the chief of police have already told me personally that they are going to sign off on it once the lawyer says everything's okay. And I believe the agreement, when I looked at it, it said it was going to be good for 5 years. As far as with the BIA, I'm currently working with Aberdeen because while I was here, the BIA offered a specialized law enforcement credentials class, which myself and all the other tribal officers, as well as Thurston County and Macy officers took. And with that course and an agreement with the BIA, we would then be able to enforce tribal law on the reservation over in Emerson.
Okay. In this, I guess, legal negotiation that you're describing, who's representing the tribe?
With the mutual aid agreement, as of right now, it was what Chief of Police Lawrence told me is it's basically just a copy of the Crow Creek's mutual aid agreement that they use with the state of South Dakota. And he submitted that to the Chief of Police in Emerson. And then before anything goes into effect, it would have to be signed by Jason and as well as Mr. White.
Okay. I guess before I go on to my next question, to me, council, what I see here is opportunity. Now, I want to start off by saying, first of all, I didn't realize that you were a member of our armed forces, and I always want to say thank you for your service to the people of our nation.
You're
Whenever
certainly welcome.
veterans come before us, I think it's important that we acknowledge everything that they've done for us. So thank you. And with that being said, the opportunity that I see here, council, is to where we can expand the, I guess, the law enforcement reach of the tribe, which is why I asked the second question. But at the same time, I do not currently see where we are being represented, meaning that it's not that I have a disbelief in either of the gentlemen here or our own police staff. It's that if we have to come up with an agreement, we should have somebody at the table to basically effectuate that, and it's kind of being left in limbo. So with that being said, some of the sentiments that were brought forward from the various members today, you should feel that way, because if we dump any type of resource, money, time, whatever it is, into providing a service to our tribal members, we should get our money's worth. And with that being said, that's why I choose to look at this as opportunity, because we can continue to expand the reach of our law enforcement services with an appropriate agreement being crafted. But again, because the tribe does not have someone at that table, does not have someone openly identified as advocating on our behalf, not that it is an adversarial relationship, but to try to bring forward what we want from the tribal perspective, it's no wonder there's no solution brought forward. So what I would like to see is to where we enlist either our general counsel or assign maybe one of the associates to that, so we can bring this forward, I guess, in a much more complete way, but also expeditiously, because the dog needs to be used. I think that's clear and apparent. I don't think there's any objection to that. But how do we get there? That seems to be what we're not seeing a solution toward. Because while the dollar figure, I think, is fine, and whatever, revenue we can create from that, from my point of view, what I would like to see is our agreement in writing, because what you're describing is kind of a gentleman's agreement, but I prefer to things, especially where law enforcement is concerned, to be in black and white, because then that solidifies your position when you're speaking on behalf of the tribe, instead of, oh, by the way, they told us in a meeting once we can use the dog. Then it's in black and white. You see what I'm saying? So council, I would be interested in accepting the agreement, but at the same time, making sure that our legal resources are ensuring our intentions and the rights and sovereignty of the tribe. A simple assignment to our general counsel, which will probably go to one of the legal associates, I think is the appropriate way to go. And then we can continue to move forward in a very, very quick fashion. Because if the dog can be used on both sides of the reservation, I say this very openly, and I'm going to continue to share this with everyone here at this table in this room. A lot of people forget about the reservation on the western side of the train tracks. We do have tribal members that live and work over there. And so anything we can do to expand our reach and expand our opportunity, these are things, in my opinion, that we should be open to.
Some of those things are already in place. When we signed our agreement with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the State of Nebraska Highway Patrol, we have these cross-deputization agreements with Nebraska Highway Patrol. We also have a cross-deputization agreement with Thurston County, which Emerson is a part of. And part of one of the directives from our law enforcement is that make your presence known over there. Go over there, gas up. Even our wildlife and parks, they go over there, make their presence known. One of the drawbacks that we have is with our, can you tell me how many of our officers are cross-deputized in the state of Nebraska?
None.
We asked for that, to get them cross-deputized, because one of the drawbacks is that we can enforce tickets on the highways and throughout the reservation, but when I think it was, we give them the option, you can either go to Pender or you can go to tribal court. And so when they took them to Pender, they weren't filing, because when they looked at that, they didn't have that cross-deputization card, so they weren't processing it. And we had to go all the way down to visit with the governor. How come our tickets ain't being processed? And we got down there, and I was whispering to the governor here, and said, your officers aren't certified in that cross-deputization. It takes a little card. Highway Patrol would set up a class for all of our Winnebago PD. We can get them to several years since we've been asking this. But those agreements are already in place. One of the, again, I tell you, part of the Indian country in the Great Plains, Winnebago is the only tribe that has these agreements. Our court system, our law enforcement agreements, there's a lot of reservations. Criminals go to hideout because there's no agreement in place. But if a man is wanted here, we don't want him here either. If we pick him up and we have a warrant or something, we'll hold him. We just go through that extradition process and we're out of here.
Right.
When we lobbied for a retrocession, and we put the cross-deputy agreement in primarily to get around Clyde's story. And we also included a provision that tribal members could get training in Grand Island. So if the state questioned the credentials of our officers, we could say, you trained them. The cross-deputy agreement worked. We could also consider a cross-deputy arrangement with Emerson. There would be a tribe to village arrangement that would go around the Bureau. We wouldn't need the Bureau approval. We could just do it. We're sovereign. And make the arrangements so that Officer Benson could act on the Winnebago Reservation with that police dog. and it'd spell out the arrangements, so it'll be a part of a legal agreement. And he just couldn't space us out. We would promise that we wouldn't interrupt him in the ballgame in Kansas City. Make that a provision.
Ma'am.
But I think we can work this out.
I do too.
He can work it out for the benefit of Emerson. We can work it out as a benefit to the tribe. If we do it right, both sides will win. And that's what we need to do.
Okay, Matt, I know you've been working at this for about 3 or 4 months,
Yes, sir.
and, you know, hindsight is always good. You know, had we even thought about it, you know, the money that we had provided, the funds we provided, you know, for you to get the training, for you to get the animal, you know, we would, we should have, you know, put together, you know, an agreement, a contract with you. But, you know, we didn't do that. But, you know, what we have here, you know, we have, potentially the opportunity to expand law enforcement. You know, Emerson, part of Emerson is still on the res. And, you know most of the people on the reservation.
Yes, sir.
And one thing that's going to be happening in the near future is that we're going to be losing one tribal police officer. So what that means is we're going to end up having one. And if you're over on the west side of the reservation, you know, you can still, you know, cover whatever may occur on the reservation. 5,000, and we made an investment initially for the animal, and that was 10 grand plus. And I'm sure that we got, you know, a good use out of it. Is that you got some arrests off it.
Yes, we have.
And I think what we need to do is, the next step that we have to do is that we have to have an agreement. You said that the mayor and the chief of police are providing something. So what we will need to do is we need to have our legal look at it also. And then when that part is done, I think, you know, getting 5,000 for a used animal, I think that would work out for us. You know, the animal's used, and then, you know, the animal is used to you. And I can't see anybody else, you know, going in there and trying to do the same thing. I don't expect, you know, the action on the 5,000 today. I think what we need to do is we have to look at that agreement, the agreement that may exist, because I would like to see us utilize the animal if we need be over on this side. But where my concern is that you only have 2 officers in Emerson, and if at midnight, ED over here has a request for you to come over here and take care of some situation with drugs, you know, is your chief of police gonna let you come over here?
Yes, sir. I believe that is in the letter from the chief of police and our village chair that I had them sign that I submitted for my intentions today. That is in there. That basically like motor T in the military. You call, we haul.
Okay. All right. Okay, John.
You know, Chairman, I beg to differ, you know, the request from to purchase the dog, I think that's one item. And also the agreement or between Emerson and the Lego Tribe, BIA law enforcement, you know, that's a separate issue. That we did make a motion to approve the sale of the K-9 to Village of Emerson and Emerson PD. And then make a motion.
Amount.
5,000.
Been motion, is there a second?
Second.
What's the motion, Mr. Chair?
Motion is to, accept the offer of sale of the animal in the amount of 5,000. Been motion, second. Discussion?
Before, I guess, the direction that I want to see the tribe move in with is actually ultimately going to include this, but I would like to see us actually have our legal agreement in place in tandem with this sale so that everything can be done according to what we need, because the frustration of the council members is valid, but I think the opportunity we have has to be placed in black and white first.
Do you withdraw your second, Mr. Frenchman, so that that motion can reflect what Mr. Chamberlain just said?
I thought about that as well, what he's saying. But we got a letter right here too that he provided for us from his chairperson, board of trustees, board members. But I thought it was along the same lines as you were saying. But he broke it down into two things there. Break it down to the purchase of the dog and then we get a legal opinion from there. Dog has to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that, but we wanted to work for us.
I understand, you know, we're in the process of discussion and the motion is pending on the floor, and it's the council's discretion on which direction we go. I acknowledge that, and I continue to acknowledge that. But what I would suggest, because it doesn't seem to be, I guess, overtly noticeable, is I wouldn't mind taking this on to move it forward if you authorize me to do so with the legal counsel and bring it back within 30 days.
That's your bargaining chip, that shunk.
I'll withdraw my second. But can we change that 30 days into a couple weeks instead?
We can move it as fast as the only holdup.
$500 by then.
The only holdup that I foresee within this are availability of the people, because I know that the village does not meet every day.
The village will be, oh, sorry, Mr. Valley.
Mr. Chairman, I'll turn around and second Jim's motion.
Been a withdrawal of the second from Mello, and Vice Chairman Kenny Mary made the second. Discussion?
Well, I've shared kind of where I was at earlier, but I also agree that the dog should get back to work. But to this point, Benson's been negotiating on behalf of the tribe, and I agree that we have to have some oversight of what's been brought forward and discussed. And, you know, I can't support it in this form to just say we're selling it as is, because we're gonna end up with the same circumstance, nothing in writing.
Yeah.
And I think Brian's suggestion builds in some reassurance that we're not gonna get, took again.
Yeah.
But I guess in the spirit of cooperation and what Louis said and what we could accomplish to spread our law enforcement, reach, I think that's all good, and I can support that. But I think that's the other part that it was just kind of like you're doing all the talking for us, and
You don't even
and
work
when did,
for us.
and you don't even work for us anymore. So how are we just gonna take what you're coming in and saying, and with no I don't mean to, like, I guess insinuate that you would be bringing in a bad deal, but I think we should still do something on our end.
In no way was I approaching Emerson saying that I was representing the tribe or anything. I have all the words that I've been saying where agreements have been made have been between the village, my chief of police, and with Chief of Police Lawrence. That's who I've been discussing all the details and everything with.
And where is Jason? Why isn't he
Yeah.
here, you know?
He had to take his child to dinner.
That doesn't seem like
Yeah.
a good enough reason.
Yep.
Well, the council, I believe that, you know, before there's any exchange of any money, we have to have an agreement in place.
Yes.
Thank you.
We need to have that.
And I
So-
seconded it with that understanding.
No,
I
that
seconded
wasn't
that.
part of it. That wasn't part of the
No,
motion.
you didn't. You
No.
did it.
Anyway, we need to have that agreement, and I said this a little bit ago, is that we're maybe one or two steps from, you know, getting to that point. But, you know, we do need something in writing, and Brian has volunteered, you know, to do our part on this side, but we need, besides the letter that's part of the initial request, there has to have some kind of MOA, MOU, that, you know, if we make the request, the dog will be utilized over here. And then, when all that is completed, then there can be an exchange of funds.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm kinda disappointed that we don't recognize where his allegiance is.
Be disappointed. Go ahead. That's how we got into this mess.
Call for the question.
okay. Been a motion second to accept the offer of $5,000 for the canine. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3. 3. No? 1, 2, 3, 4. Abstention? Or you have a no, Corey? No. Okay. 5. No abstentions, motion failed. 3-5-0.
The thing that I would present forward at this time, Mr. Chairman, is to reiterate the offer that I made. With the council's approval, I can bring this forward within 30 days or as soon as the parties can meet. We will have an agreement in place for the sale of the dog as well as the use of the dog going forward and the ownership, etc. The only question that I have in my mind at this point is, where is the dog currently?
Currently, the canine is staying at my residence. I'm the only one that was set up to have him at my house.
Okay.
That was brought up when I handed in my resignation about where the dog would stay, and it was decided it'd probably be best for him to stay at my house, just for the simple fact of my family's used to him. We didn't want to put him in with somewhere because he is mildly aggressive with small children, like running up to his kennel and things. We were scared if he stayed at Chief Lawrence's house, if his daughters ran up to him while he was in a kennel or something, we didn't want somebody to get bit.
I understand. I didn't know at all where it was, and I didn't know if it was sitting in a kennel somewhere just being lost.
No, he's,
So, okay.
I've been taking care of him.
Okay, that's fine. So again, I reiterate my offer to the council with your approval, but it's, again, your discretion.
There's not gonna be any lodging charges, is there?
That was something that came up between me and Chief Lawrence, and I told Chief Lawrence, I said, in all honesty, my family loves that dog. My one son is very attached to him, but I'm in no way saying that should be a decision maker. But I do agree with Councilman Chamberlain that things should be in writing. And over the past couple of months, was speaking with the people I have been speaking with, I was under the understanding that communication was happening, but if that's one thing we need to do, I'm more than willing to make this happen. I want to see the SLEC agreement go into place so that tribal law can be enforced by myself and Chief Chin in Emerson, and so that when requested, we can come over here and assist, and when we request assistance the tribe can come, the tribal law enforcement can come over and assist us.
Jim?
I agree with that, you know, as far as, what Brian, wants to do, so, you know, make a motion to appoint, Brian to assist with, this agreement and with legal, review with our cross-deputy base agreement, our cross-deputy BIA, you know, so that way everything's covered. From law enforcement, that agreement they have with Crow Creek, or whoever the template that you're using, so that way the legal can review that. It fits within the parameters of our current agreements. Just little area, the DIA takes a lot of time to get them on the phone, takes a lot of time to get them here. Hopefully we can accomplish this in 30 days. Anyway, that's my motion.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Any objections to the motion?
Abstain.
Call for vote in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No? Abstention?
One.
Motion passed, 701. Okay, Brian will take care of that then.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'll be getting a hold of you guys, and then we'll try to move this as quickly as we can. I also, I don't know if they're in our packets, but I'll probably need copies of whatever you guys have in writing so far. But I can get those at a later time.
Yes, sir. I'll get you everything you need.
Okay.
I'll leave. Is there someone you want me to leave like email and phone number with?
Probably Lily or Teresa.
Okay, I'll go get with Lily and leave my contact information with her.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, council.
What was it, that count on that motion failed? Who was yes? Who voted yes for the motion that failed? It was 3.
Al and I and Jim's the only one that voted yes.
Okay. Okay. Next item, request Llewellyn Walker. No show. Okay, next request, Marion Holstein. No show. Again.
Well, we're gonna be talking about students with 2 legs. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time. I'm glad I made it here this time. And what I want to bring before the table is something I've discussed on numerous occasions with the Nebraska Intertribal Council beginning September 19, 2017. And at that time, I identified a problem statement that hopefully substantiated the reformation of the Nebraska Indian Education Association. And that problem statement was education of Native children and the ability to address educational issues with a unified response does not exist in Nebraska. There is no one entity responsible for the systematic coordination and development of a strategic approach to such issues and concerns. So we have advocated for all of our Native children in Nebraska, not just the children on the 3 reservation schools. Let me clarify that there are actually 4 schools on the 3 reservations. So, and then looking at those numbers, the Nebraska Department of Education, NDE, has indicates that we have approximately 4,600 Native American students in the state. Of those 4,600, approximately 1,918 reside in those 4 schools that I mentioned. So looking at the bigger picture, you know, we have, and trying to be responsive to all of our students, whether they live on the reservation or not, And, you know, as of yet, we haven't been able to determine how many are Winnebago tribal members. However, while we have tried to include as many people as we can and letting them know about the Nebraska Indian Ed, we always haven't been able to make as effective an effort as we would like to. And part of that is, you know, we've just been a volunteer association. And actually, when the first Nebraska Indian Ed Association was incorporated on June 22nd, 1987, it was still an all-volunteer agency. The three original incorporators were Art Hill Sr., Reba Whiteshirt, and Alfred Buddy Gilpin. So, and I don't know, some of you may remember that we held annual conferences, etc. I don't want to get into all of the workings we had, but just seeing that voice and that united participation for the betterment of education of our children is important. Now, we had been working, yes, please.
Excuse me. So that answers, when you kept saying we, I didn't know who we was.
Well, right now, we're just looking at as the board of directors, the interim board of directors.
So who is that?
Colette Yellowrobe, Sid Tuttle, and Derek LaPointe. After my...
So who are, I guess, is this a act, is Nebraska Indian Education Association an active chartered body, or are you guys just making motions trying to get it going again?
Yeah. Let me answer your question by first giving a little bit more of a background.
Well, I was just
the
asking
September
because it sounds
17th.
like you're collecting money, and I'm just wondering who's collecting that money.
Okay. After our September 17, 27 meeting at the Intertribal, Derek LaPointe came up to me and he said, you know, I believe in this too. I believe that our children need to learn their own history, to have that self-identity and that self-esteem in order to learn in the school, in the classrooms. So that sort of started it, and we, you know, trying to analyze the whole situation. And as my role as a school board member, Winnebago school board member, we started looking at the symptoms. When you want to make effective change, you have to look at the leadership. And looking at that, and then having worked with Head Start for Ages and ensuring that our parents who sat on our governing body were aware of the issues before making decisions, then we decided we held a first ever summit for all of the school board members on the 4 reservation schools. And that was simply because of a realization that the board members didn't receive the school board training that they needed. And so without hitting really important and intensive or important issues within the schools, then we weren't going to affect any change. Number one is absenteeism. We all agreed at that summit that we have that problem. You know, another problem is what are we teaching in the classroom? How much of our true and accurate history, as well as the contributions of Native Americans, how well is that taught in our schools? Probably more so in our 4 reservation schools, you know, with each considering their own culture and their own language that they want to infuse into their curriculum. But also, you know, we have to consider the other approximately 2,600 non-Native students in classrooms across the state. So, so with that, you know, we kept meeting and tried to hold informational meetings. And then in December December 22nd, 2018, actually, the proficiency scores from our Native American students were published. And our Native students consistently scored anywhere from 25 to 30% lower than the highest achieving group. And, you know, I read these numbers and I spoke to my interim, well, actually it was just a group of people getting together. I said, you know what, we have to do something. We've been, you know, talking about this for a year and a half now. We probably need to do something. So that's when we decided that, okay, let's incorporate. Let's go back and just go ahead and not wait for everybody to say yes, and, you know, and what are you going to do, and all of those other little questions that come up regarding purpose, etc. And let's just say that this is needed. Let's not wait for anybody else. Let's move ahead. So we chartered on January 18, 2019.
Who did? Who's we?
Derek Lapointe, Colette Yellowrobe, Sid Tuttle, and myself.
Under just yourselves or under?
We incorporated.
I understand.
What does
but-
that imply to
well,
you?
I'm saying that you're acting in the name of the tribes, and no one has sanctioned you to do that. And this has been on the agenda for 2 years now, and I haven't seen or heard of any support for this to move forward. And the school board, some school board members said that you're traveling on the school board's dime to create a job for yourself. So I just don't understand what the hard ask is, because we've been
Mhm.
talking about this for 2 years. And then I was reading your document, and it says that you had a revenue campaign and you accepted money from Santee Sioux Tribe and the Sherwood Foundation. There's an approval. So I'm just wondering who authorized you to solicit money on behalf of the tribes?
First of all, we are not soliciting money on behalf of the tribes. And I don't know, how did you read into that we're submitting?
Page 5 of your document, significant event number 4, revenue campaign and leverage resources.
Right.
So
How
I'm
does that
asking
say
you-
that
I'm asking you, why are you collecting money, and do you have an account set up that's under our finance department, or what,
Mhm.
can you talk about that?
Sure. And I expected personal attacks.
This isn't
You
a
know, but
personal
this,
attack.
well, but because it's not read, because you're assuming a lot of things. The Nebraska the Nebraska Intertribal Coalition passed a resolution on May 7th. And actually, we have been waiting to move forward because of that sovereignty issue. Some of this originally came about because of the ESSA plan. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am,
And
but you're not answering the question, who's collecting money and where's this money being, kept?
who is collecting money is the nonprofit association.
And do they
And
have their own accounts, or how? is
Yes,
this
we
been in
do, of
conjunction with our
course.
treasurer? I guess
we
I'm
have to
just
follow
shocked
IRS
that
laws. We have
you're
to follow
collecting money
the
on
state
behalf
of
an
Nebraska
association that-
incorporation laws. There's a lot of, there's a lot of things that we have to follow. But when we got that resolution from the intertribal, we did not really move forward until then. Because part of our plan is to ensure that sovereignty is the discussion at the table. That's why we didn't move. We have not collected one red cent on behalf of the tribes, and I really take offense that you brought it out just like that.
Well, you
Who
should,
gave me the
page
authority?
5 of your document, I got it from your document.
It does not say that I am collecting money on behalf of the tribes.
I don't know, the council has the same document, I was just reviewing it before you came in, because I think that, you've been doing a lot of things outside of your authority and acting on behalf of the tribe without the consent of the council.
Well,
And I think
what
you're
do you
using-
want?
I
What are,
think
what
you're-
are, what are the,
Well,
okay,
you're not even answering my questions. So
okay.
Can you talk about significant event number 4 if I'm misunderstanding it?
Okay, let me pull that up real quick because I don't see where. Okay. Which page is that?
Page 5.
Okay. And could you read that to me again? What,
I don't need to read it, you have it, and I've just referenced it.
under this? In this?
No. Page 5 of the project narrative.
One second, please. Okay, Santee Sioux Tribe representatives, is that it?
Yes.
And where does it say that we solicited funds on behalf of the Omaha, or the tribes, or the Winnebago tribe?
I didn't say anything about Omaha.
Or about the Winnebago tribe even?
Well, can you talk about it? I mean, if I've misunderstood it, talk
Well, I
about
did-
how you're soliciting money that they're gonna pay you by the 26th of 2019, or not rather you, but informs NEIEA. Sherwood Foundation application submitted a notice of approval on a match basis received
Mhm.
in April up to 50,000. So
Mhm.
you are doing that, and all those things would require resolution from this table. And so that's what I don't understand, or if you're using that intertribal coalition resolution as a blanket approval. So I just wanna understand, I think it's good work, but I also think you're trying to create a job for yourself.
Well, first of all, the process that we are soliciting and requesting donations from nonprofit foundations is because we're a nonprofit association. We're registered with the IRS. We have submitted our charter. It's very similar to the charter that was first submitted in 1987, because the purposes are still the same. I'm not familiar, or I'm not, I don't know how much you know about our education and the status of our children on the reservations, but it's dire. I mean, if we just sit here and wait, it's going to continue to be at, math testing at 42 percentile, English at 35 percentile. What else did you want to know?
Well, you just haven't really, talked about number 4, you're dancing around it, but I've heard enough.
No.
I think I've made
The
my-
Santee Sioux, again, Derek Lapointe,
I've heard enough.
because, again, he's the one that went ahead and asked his tribe for those funds. And they donated 10,000. Whether people are, we all know that there's personalities involved here, okay? So I went to our school board at one point and this was probably about 3 months ago, trying to bring them up to speed on what was happening here, because I've always tried to include them. And as I was starting to speak about updating them on Nebraska Indian Ed, they all took out their phones and started texting. So I basically just said, well, okay, if you don't want to hear about it, I'm done. But there are also considerations too, is that I was not doing this work traveling on the school board's dime.
That's what they've told me.
Well, they're incorrect. And that's probably what they want. I could not. I travel, I go to the state board workshops. I presented at the Nebraska State Board School Boards Association twice. And that's because, again, of that leadership concept. I don't know, I'm not really sure. Is it a personal thing if we have somebody else do this work?
I don't know why you're taking
Then-
it so personal. I'm just
Well-
sharing feedback. I'm
Well, when you
here, the
tell,
whole
when
council
other
sitting
people
here.
are talking to you about me, then I'm gonna take it personal.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's why I have a hard time supporting this, because it doesn't seem like it's, I don't know, I'm still trying to understand it, so I really appreciate the documents that you shared with us today. And that's kind of
Okay.
what prompted some of my questions, because I do think it's good work. It just seems like it's, I don't know, I don't really understand the path. Maybe that's a
Okay.
better way of saying it.
And, and that's, I am not creating a job for myself. I have worked on this first thing when I first started working for the court. There was a 1-year grant, and I'm trying, I know you guys don't want to hear this, but just so you have a little background. There was a 1-year grant that I was hired to work on with the court. That ended up to me doing basically juvenile probation type of things. And so I attended meetings at the school. And that was my first glimpse into the work that we still need to do at the school. And it's a tough job, I'm not saying any job that we have, you need support staff also. Any job where we're trying to affect some kind of positive change, it's gonna be a tough job. And we need as much support as we can. I don't know, I didn't think that this would be such an issue, but I've worked from, after I left the other in June of 2016, I actually moved back to the reservation so that I could run for school board. I encountered a lot of hardships because of that, leaving my home, living in a basement, first of all, then living in another small room, so I could do this work. And, and our students need it. We presented, and I was not on salary then, we presented a workshop on June, whatever it was, last year, whatever, and the school paid for it. But it was so that we could bring up that capacity, so our non-native teachers could understand what our children are going through in the classroom. And then looking also at getting those lesson plans, building our children's self-esteem. We've heard about that innate intelligence that we have. Bringing that. We've worked with people at the University of Wisconsin to develop lesson plans for our children so they can learn about the Mississippian culture and how, and that's never been done before. That was groundbreaking. That is unique in this universe. But we were able to do that because we want our Winnebago kids to learn about that and that intelligence that it took for them to move those, for everything. Just the astronomy, the science, the math that was used in those mound buildings way back when they built them. So So, that was all done. That was all done throughout a year and a half, 2 years. We brought Tammy Johnson from Minneapolis Public Schools, and teachers weren't required to attend, but we still had quite a few. And some of the teachers came up to me afterwards and said, "What's next, Marion?" Because this only cemented that idea that we've had for 40-some years. Teachers want to teach Native children and all children, hopefully, about the correct and accurate history and contributions of Native Americans. It's a movement that's going across the country. When I first came back from a workshop, and I know they didn't like to hear it, but I told them that, I said, you know what, we're 15 years behind the times here. And then I went back and I revised that to just 10 years. But other states are doing so much more. And let me just say that I think that I don't know. I'm really concerned with this non-supportive language, when indeed we all need to look at that. We've worked with the commissioner. We've done numerous advocacy efforts, numerous, and not until June 1st were any of my works compensated. So right now, getting to your question, we applied for the Sherwood Foundation. And the Sherwood Foundation they said, we want to get into more work like this. We're going to fund you for your startup costs. And really, I'm trying not to take this too personally, but, we know that history there, so I guess there is some personalities involved. But, we don't need to.
This point. I mean, I don't know what you're suggesting here, but you just you didn't want to talk about taking money, and you just told us you're taking money.
No, I was just gonna.
I've spoken to the school board, and they don't know what you're doing, but yet you've set up an office up there and made a desk for yourself. So I'm just trying to understand the path, because this is what's coming down from the school board that you're a member to, and that they don't know what's going on with this either, but you're collecting money. So this is really, just a really self-serving effort, and I don't.
Well, I think, and maybe.
Children to find yourself a job.
And then you tell me it's not personal when you attack me in such a way.
I don't think it's personal.
I think our leaders need to. I think our leaders need to discuss facts, not hearsay.
You told us that you're collecting money. You just told us.
Starting June 1st,
And
yeah.
asked
Well,
you
that's what
about
the resolution says.
Event number 4. So I'm sorry you're taking it as a personal attack. But
No,
I have
when
the
you-
same strong feelings just about a canine we talked about. So you shouldn't take it so personal. I really try to see. things
I'm
as black
taking
and
it
white.
personal because you listened to what the school board member said about me, as if it were fact. And then I just mentioned to you when I had no idea, you didn't tell me everything. But I just mentioned to you that I did try to present, I was on the agenda. When I started updating them, they pulled out their phone. We're going to have to start recording our meetings too, now I can see. And because I don't, I speak up about us when we're spending money that we shouldn't be. Talking about contracts. Our contracts are not as, but that's going into another thing. But,
Mary,
go ahead.
Let's bring it back to, why you're here,
Yeah,
and let's stay on that.
okay.
Then, however long you're gonna take, that's.
Well, again, you have the copy of the resolution. You know, we know that there are some tribes that cannot afford 10,000, and that's fine. You know, but, you know, we'd like to have the resolution, because then it does recognize, you know, the tribal council as the sovereign nation that it is, and that we want. That's why we're here, because we want that oversight. We want to have, you know, when we do get organized, we're establishing protocols to report to each tribal council members, but we're hoping to do it through that person that they designate to be the representative on the board.
Okay, what you have here is the narrative?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you present. Okay, I'm getting the impression that you're making a request for funds.
We just spoke last week, and we were saying that, you know, yes, we requested funds, but we have other opportunities, and if the tribes, because we realize some tribes are, you know, it's hard for them to come up with 10,000. So we're saying that,
Okay.
you know,
Normally
it does
when
not
you-
have to be linked to a donation.
Okay, normally, when you make a request for funds, there's a proposal that goes with it, that as to, you know, what exactly you're gonna use it for.
Mm-hmm.
And, this year, you know, it's not that, it's just a narrative.
No, I submitted a 6-month plan
Okay. Well, what I'm saying
and 3
is-
budgets.
Is the request, that you're making the official request, the
Mhm.
proposal,
Mm-hmm.
on what you're asking for and what it's gonna be used for. You know, if you did something like that, it might be easier to understand.
Okay. And this is being recorded,
Yes.
right? Good.
Okay, if you can do that, then we can go off that, Jim.
Yeah, you know, as tribal leaders, you know, when you look at the state reports, you know, all the Indian schools are at the bottom of the barrel as far as testing and things like that. So we should be doing letters to Nebraska Department of Education because of the disparity in numbers. Because of the high incidence of diabetes in Thurston County specifically, among the Omahas and Winnebagos, the state granted a 5-year grant to the health program. And they sent people down to assist and train. But also you could give us an education several years back. Where's that place out of?
What place?
ESU 1 or something like that?
Oh, yeah, Wakefield.
Okay, then, they sponsored a program similar to this several years ago. I think Kathy Campbell ran it. But there is state funds available specifically to address these issues, because each one of the tribes participated, the Omahas, the Santees, and the Winnebagos, and there was a plan that was developed and then accepted for approval by, was that ESU 1, Wakefield?
Mhm.
And so then I think the grant expired and it was never renewed. But there is funds available. You know, our school board should be going after some of those funds and get that back. And I know Moonga's been working with, as far as Nebraska Department of Education over in Norfolk, trying to get them to put over satellite some courses over here because we are in the district. So, you know, there's other options available that we can research all, but, you know, when Nebraska and the tribal organization disbanded their education, you know, it was because everybody was 638ing their education funds. So they need to come together. We could develop our own plans along with, in conjunction with the school, but we still have that separation because it took us a long time to get a Indian-controlled school board, but still we have those little walls that separate us. But, you know, we need to do something about this. You know, all,
Can I
listen
res-
to everything, we listen to all
Yeah.
things, so.
Mr. Chairman, can I respond to Jim's ESU comments? Excuse me, Louis, but can I respond to those while they're fresh? The, The ESU is there. They have what they call an Indian Schools Consortium. And it's made up out of the superintendents. There really is no other input. They sit there at their meeting, and there was a Wayne State Symposium. There used to be Wayne State Symposiums that were supposed to bring more culture and whatever the schools needed. Granted, I was not in the picture for quite a few years, but hearing from teachers and then having that reconfirmed again just recently, that those symposiums were basically useless and did not provide as much information. Plus, I don't think they were really coordinated to meet the needs. They were developed by superintendents who I know for a fact that have very little background in Indian education. One of them actually said to me that last year they learned about assimilation. And what's going in my mind is, okay, you've got majority of Native American students in your school, and you know nothing about our history and how the effects of assimilation. So those are, and you know, they're doing the best they can. But everybody can use a little help. And that's what Nebraska Indian is there for, to help facilitate what those needs are. Thank you. So ESU, yes, they're there, but everything needs a little improvement. Thank you.
I got a letter from Darren Wolf, the Omaha tribe, stating that NIA or whatever it is doesn't represent the Omaha tribe. Well, that's a major number of Indian students that organization doesn't represent. Are you familiar with that letter?
I am. Yes, Darren sent it to me. My response is that he's not understanding things correctly. This has happened to us probably 3 or 4 times with Darren. When we were first talking about the Indian Education for All Act in the state, he took the stance that that was going to affect our impact aid funding. Totally 2 different things. So I'm thinking he's just misunderstanding this again. And he's never, he's never asked me. He's never, we sent someone to their school board meeting when we first started. We sent somebody to all of the school boards to let them know.
Do you have a resolution of support from the school board and the tribal council?
We wanted to start with the tribal council first, recognizing that sovereignty.
Do you have a resolution?
There was a resolution, yeah, I submitted a resolution here for the Winnebago tribe.
Was it passed?
Oh, no. I'm sorry, I included a resolution in that packet, but no, there has not been a resolution presented here to the Winnebago tribe.
What resolutions of support do you have?
We have the Intertribal Coalition so far.
That's the only one?
That's the only, yes. Ponca's, I'm not sure. I have to get in contact with them again. We sent the same papers to the Omaha Tribal Council. I haven't reached out to them again yet. And we sent the same packet to Santee. And, this is whatever meeting's getting postponed, whatever. I don't know, but I plan on following up on all of those.
Chairman, Mr. LaPointe and Mr. Wolf are both on the Nebraska Indian Committee,
Right.
and they seem to be on the same page. So why would Darren Wolf not understand and Mr. LaPointe understand?
I don't know. I was going to print out those emails because I guess emails are public information. But I have emails explaining to Mr. Wolf about this impact aid funding and stuff, and how I was sorry if he misunderstood that, thinking a Nebraska Indian Education for All Act would, impact our impact aid funds, but it's just not so. I have that documentation, evidence.
Mr. Chairman, I asked a question earlier, where does NHIB get their funding from? They solicit from tribes, and then there's another one coming up for the National Congress of American Indians, and they're soliciting funds to operate. And with your $10,000 request, I guess my thought in wondering is how do you judge these associations? What are they doing? Are they doing a good job? How do we know that they're benefiting us? And that's the point I want to make in this statement.
Well, it's, you want to have your data so you can measure your progress. But you also need data to plot your activities, what's going to go here and there. Nebraska Indian Ed has not been fully formed yet. That's why we were going to the tribal councils to get their support so that they can say to their directors of education, their Indian community colleges, this is going to give us a concerted voice. This is going to give us, information that's going to be shared. We're going to be able to pinpoint where we need to focus our efforts. If it's in teacher development, if it's in seeking new grants so we can implement new ideas, and I never thought seeking supplemental funding for needs on the tribe would meet with such adversaries. But so we want to do that. I'm not here. See, and that's why I knew this was going to happen. But it's not me asking for this money. It's the association. Eventually, it's going to be representatives from everyone across the state, as we used to. There's going to be representatives from the tribes. And I don't think I gave you a copy of the former bylaws, but the bylaws from '88 detail who are going to have seats on the board. We're hoping that board can get seated as soon as possible so we can start making these changes. It's a school year is happening. If we had some of the professional development that we eventually see, our children might be having a different school year. And, just look at National Indian Education Association. What effect are they having? Montana has proven that with the infusion of culture across their state Department of Education, that all children have improved their scores, not just Native children, but other children learning about us, learning about the accurate history of the United States. Washington State, Oregon, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, New Mexico, those states that, do have high Indian populations, they've made great strides in this. And we're sitting here fighting amongst ourselves as to what's best for our children. I'm not saying I know what's best. That's why this board is going to be, there's going to be a board seated. And, this is a free country. And, you know, we've incorporated, and, you know, sometimes we just have to do what we think is best.
Okay. So that's your presentation to us then?
Well, I'm still open for more questions if you have them, because apparently there's been discussions about this, and I'd like to have as many questions asked as you could.
Just not for me.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well,
Alright, before we close it up, Mr. Chair, I would only like to say that I think that this endeavor is worthwhile. And that having, our perspective on what happened as a result of the disruption to our societies needs to be said. And it needs to be clearly stated in Nebraska's social studies, history books, what have you. So if we can get behind that to make sure that that's happening, that's a plus for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and our great-great-grandchildren. Now, I would like to see that happen. I think that's worthwhile. So I just would like for us to clearly, so it's definitive and clear for everybody how we're gonna get there. And then there's no question on funding sources, so that it works to the benefit of all the tribes in this state. So, with that being said, I think that what the chair was alluding to, I think you need to come back so that it's clear. And that way we're not getting personalities, or we don't take it in that direction. And so that we can get this objective met. Because of maybe what one person may have said doesn't necessarily mean that's the consensus of all the tribes. And there might be a little bit of some confusion here, and that's okay, you know. It just makes it so that more people are aware, and but we need to come together and have a discussion on how this is gonna play out, so that everybody here is in agreement. Because right now I'm not hearing that. I hear confusion. So.
Not confused.
No, I'm not.
Not that you're implying that I'm
No,
confused.
I am not
certainly
implying that you're confused.
How I feel about this.
I apologize if I implied that, because that wasn't my intent. I just want us to be able to clear that up so that we can move forward to make things happen for these Native students. That's all I would like to say.
And I'm not sure, I think Chairman Wright introduced the motion at the Intertribal Council, and Chairman Sherman seconded it, or it was just the opposite.
okay. Okay, we can take a few more steps,
Sure.
but thank you for
We
the
just
presentation.
keep on working. So now, what steps do you want, and
Well, to
would
clear
it help to just present a resolution without any funds attached to it? Because,
What?
you know, I'm getting letters from a lot of people that are saying, yes, they're wanting to, you know, they want to see this,
Okay.
and congratulating us on our work so far.
Well, it would help me if I knew exactly what you were asking for, and then how it was gonna be used.
just that you,
That would simplify things. It appears that, you're making a request to the other tribes in Nebraska, and I'm sure they're gonna ask, how are you gonna use this money? And who's gonna account for it? Things like that. Just make it simple.
well, I did submit this plan.
Yeah.
What more?
Well, with bits and pieces here and there, put it all together, then submit it.
This is, we're just starting, we're startup.
Okay, I understand that.
So, we're not gonna have policies yet. We don't even have, support staff on board yet.
Well, normally when you have a nonprofit and 501, have you submitted that already?
Yeah.
Okay, so normally when you do that, you have your articles of incorporation,
Right?
and you have identified all the officers.
Yeah.
Okay, so you should have that now.
Yep.
Okay, so that'd be part of it.
Is that what you, okay? We
Yeah,
can do
proposal,
that.
A proposal, for a request.
Will this extra work reap any benefits? I mean, do you
Do you
think
want
that?
this to happen or not? He's telling you what to do. Maybe we're
Yeah.
sitting here arguing on what you
We
should
have
be
it.
bringing over here.
Because we're doing a lot
Just
of
do
work.
what he's asking, and we can move on. It's simple.
Okay,
Okay,
I can do that.
all right, great. All right, thank you, Mary. Okay, where we at? Tribal council items. CB emergency grant qualification discussion. That's yours?
Coley, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
This thing?
Yes, that's it. Does anybody have any, like to see anything changed on this? Those are here that sign checks and kinda know what's going on. I guess one of the, there's, you can get $250 to go to a doctor's appointment in Sioux City. That's basically, it's just a little loophole in there. And does anybody else like to see this updated? Changed, added, anything? I guess that's one thing that I'm seeing is kind of what's going on.
On that 250 for what?
For a doctor's appointment.
You know that.
It's only one per, it gets into per incident, per
Yeah.
family member, and
I would like to go into, I'm glad you brought it up, but I don't want to go into it live because there's personalities involved and it does need to be addressed. It's really being abused. I think we need to, so as not to offend people in the public that are eligible for it, and those whose eligibility is run out, and all those kind of circumstances need to be brought up. But I think we need to do that in our own time and then explain it to the public. That 250 has to be revised. It really makes it difficult on Teresa to have to make a decision. And sometimes she gets cussed out for making the right, a lot of times she gets cussed out for making the right decision. We need to help that situation. And those who use it wisely and those who use it unwisely. I appreciate you bringing it up.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Coley, thanks for putting that on the agenda because I think we need to maybe create some type of step or distance measures because a person can get the same 250 to go to Sioux City and the same person, or not person, but same applicant, not same, gets 250 to go to Mayo Clinic, and it's just not the same caliber of trip. But then on the other hand, I think about maybe it's Omaha, maybe it is Sioux City, and you have a whole family of relatives that are kind of shuttling up and back and forth, taking shifts, having to eat at the cafeteria, and so I kind of understand the burden that that's on the family to always wanna be there with the loved one, and then maybe not having money to feed the kids that you had to bring with you, and so I understand that, but we have no way of, monitoring that once it leaves our building and that check is produced. And so then it's on the, kinda on the merit of that loved one that came forward, that they would spread that amongst the family members, being bedside or at the hospital. So I don't have the solution, but I think that I really wanna be a part of the discussion, because maybe it's more if they have to go to Mayo, you know, I don't know where we go from here, but, or maybe we go to a mileage type, situation rather than a firm amount, but I'm interested in looking at, reviewing that too.
We need to
Thank you.
revisit it.
Well, this item 6 on the application, if you look at it, this is grants that may not require $250 and shall be paid according to direct costs needed only. So, when they fill this out, you know, it's normally the ones that signed this are the officers. So you would have to make that judgment. We've been just taking it for granted that every request is $250. You know, if it's just going to Sioux City, maybe it's $50 for gas, you know, maybe, you know, just as an example. If it's to Omaha, maybe $100 back and forth.
There's some situations too where the hospital makes travel available for them.
Yeah.
And that option should be used first before they make application.
Yeah, we all know that, you know, this, what we have here, the emergency grant's been misused. Some people have taken advantage of it, but that's your.
There's also the
I think,
problem of, I know I got a letter, I think we all got a letter saying, don't give money to this certain person because they don't share it.
They don't come see me.
They don't, they get the money, but they don't come see me. And they make a journey to the casino. So we get it back.
I'll get it back.
Okay, anything else on that, Coley?
No, that's all I want to say.
you know, I know Teresa really tries to adhere to the policy, you know, it says, grants may be awarded only in documented cases of death or serious critical injury of the tribal member who is also an immediate family member of the applicant. You know, and then that, you know, that the priority is the spouse and then children and then next of kin. You know, my cousin over here, you know, you should check with the other closely related relatives prior to that, or even check with the one that's in the hospital. And also that when they do, and some of the person that are having surgery and stuff like that will fill out that application. But then, you know, Teresa will call the hospital where they're gonna be do the surgery and things like that. And that person will help out with the family. And like Tori said, it is a burden on the family because, you know, we're lucky that it's only Omaha, but, you know, Sioux City, but like Mayo Clinic, you know, it's a real hardship to get up there and then have those family be able to support things like that. I know, there's always a way that somebody's gonna try to find that loophole, you know, and it's sad, but that's just the way it is. Do the best we can for our relatives that are in the hospital, and really appreciate, you know, the grant that I received.
Any more on it, Coley?
No, just like, my main issue was like Tori said, mileage. I'm not questioning the, like, serious, who's dispersing money, you know, for a doctor's appointment to Dakota Dunes. They verify that they have an appointment, and that's it. Just make sure, you know, the doctor's appointment's parts of it, you know. That's all.
Okay, no action on that item. Number 2, National Congress of American Indians Membership Renewal Notice.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay our dues to the NCAI
Second.
so as to remain in good standing.
Been motion and second to approve the renewal membership fees to the National Congress of American Indian. Discussion?
I have just one question.
Sure.
Is Chairman Fraser still, working towards
Yep.
running?
Yeah, we're gonna get all 9 of us out there.
That would be really cool,
It
actually.
would be. If y'all, let's see. If y'all hadn't heard, the chairman of the Cheyenne River Tribe is running for president of NCAI. Yeah, Harold Fraser. And, we've been talking about this for about a year. So now, you know, he's starting to do his campaigning. And in Milwaukee, when he ran for president then, you know, it was a sight to see. As most of the tribal chairmen and some of the tribal council reps, they all walked in with him into the auditorium. So there was a long line of us. And unfortunately, you know, he didn't have enough time to campaign. It was short notice, but this time around, we expect to have a better turnout. And all the tribes in Great Plains are in favor of him. We haven't had anybody in the Great Plains in a long time.
But boy, the Alaska tribes are really getting more involved.
Oh, yeah.
Gee, they stole the floor a lot of the time, this last winter session. I imagine they'll be out in force again this fall.
Okay. And Tori gave a good speech at the last one. Okay, there's been a motion, second. Any further discussion? Any objections to the motion? No objections, the motion passed 8-0-0.
Who's second that?
Hey,
Roland.
Brown? WHDC meeting request. Anybody know anything about this?
Told you something.
Phil's wearing off. Phil's giving out.
I'm sorry.
Know anything about this item? Anybody? Okay,
Well, from their letter, their board met and requested a meeting for August 5th, which is Wednesday. Or Friday.
Oh, this had to do with that, the village and the housing's MOU. And I believe.
oh, okay, Norma made that request, that's correct. Yeah. Okay, I'll get with Norma and find out, you know, if we can get this thing taken care of. There's a discussion, there was a meeting between the village and the housing commission. Did that ever take place?
Yes, that meeting did take place. They did sit down and look at each other, and they were cordial, and they got something kinda done. So that was a good thing. Village still has to meet, then they gotta take it to vote, and then, get back with housing. Once they have their definitive answer on how that's gonna play out, they'll bring that back over here. That's my understanding of that process. That's where we're at.
Okay. Okay. I'll follow up on that. Okay, Jim took care of his item.